Hello, and welcome to a quick overview of how I prepare this is an index card, but sort of a spinning notebook, journal, card box, whatever you prefer. But this is how I track my spins, and I wanted to share that with you so that you can do something like this if you like it. So I find this is super helpful for me, and I want to talk a little bit about my system and different things that I do, and you can take what you like or leave it altogether. But you might find it helpful, especially when it comes to how did I spin that yarn, what whirl did I use, what fiber did I use, who made that kind of thing. So it just really helps, especially as time goes on. So here's my basic setup for a card. This is kind of a blank sample. And then I will take one from my card box. Let's see something. Okay, so here's an old card from 2019, looks like. So this is Corriedale fleece that I purchased from my wool mitten, aka Carrie. Hi, Carrie. And I said the fiber was Hilda Corriedale fleece from 2019. I did a 2-ply, aiming for a light fingering. I used my Lindrum double treadle. The ratio I used on that was 17:1, both spinning and plying. And then the draft, it says supported long draw, notes flicked and or combed before drum carding. So this just gives an overview of how I made that yarn. On the back, looks like I calculated the yards per pound, which isn't really that necessary for most spins, to be honest. I used to do it all the time. I don't do it that much anymore because I can nerd out a little bit. So here's a sample of that yarn. It was very fine, and it's what it turned into is sitting behind me. My I could put it under here too, I guess. It's a Hansel hat. So if I actually have a lot of this yarn, in particular the brown, the dark brown I have a lot of. I have some of this gray and not as much of the light gray because I used the most. If you look down in the small window, I'll show you. You can see most of it was this light gray. Okay, so now you can kind of see what an example looks like. And then I thought I'd show you a couple more things. So I don't want to lose the place of this, but here is my card for my Lindrum double treadle. This has the 3 flyers. It has the 3 flyers that I have. I have a jumbo flyer, a regular flyer, a fast flyer, and I use the fast flyer more than anything else. But if I need to reference what whirl I used and what speed, speed's not exactly accurate, but this helps me. And so I've got that for my Lindrum double treadle, which is just my spinning wheel. And then I also have a Shaft Reeves, and I have 3 whirls for that as well. And each one has 2 ratios to choose from. And so anytime I want to spin and it's not just for fun and I really want to, make a project or something in particular that I want to save that information, be able to recreate it, or the other thing is if you maybe right now you think, oh, I'm just going to make this and I'm going to I'm going to do it all right now, but life gets in the way and something comes up and you put your project down for a while and now you have no idea. Things got moved around. The wheel, you took the band off, and which whirl were you using and that kind of thing. So all of a sudden you're a little bit lost. And if you take the time to make these cards or write a journal entry or do some sort of virtual notebook, then you can have that information accessible, so it'll save you. So I have both my wheels. I only have 2 wheels, and I shouldn't say only. I'm lucky to have 2 wheels. And then I have some other little cards in here. This one has angle of twist, and it has S and Z, which I can look at the yarn and know if it's S or Z or the plies. But a beginner, this might be handy. And then the angle of the twist, not something I check much, but if I wanted to be really technical, I could note that as well. So I've got that in there. I've got an old Spinner's, I forget what this is called. It's a control card, Spinner's control card, I think. I purchased it on Etsy years ago, and I used it a lot as a beginner, and it's got some different lines on it to help you create the yarn that you want. So, and it also has a 2-inch section in the middle, like the cutout area is 2 inches, so that you can do your wraps per inch. And then because it's 2 inches, you just divide by 2, and you get how many wraps per inch. So let's see, I have some yarn to show from my recent project as well. I also have another wraps per inch tool in here. This one just has 1 inch. And you may find, I have found, that different sources will give different yarn weights for different wraps per inch. And I think some of that might have to do with worsted versus woolen spun, and some of it might have to do with the type of fiber. So a finer fiber goes a bit, well, it could be bouncier and thicker, and or it could be more sleek and silky, and there's a lot of factors. So that's kind of what I keep in this box for the most part. I also have my Shave 'em to save 'em, which I always say backwards, oops. Some extra index cards for creating new cards, and a bunch of old spins, and sometimes it's nice to look back on. So I wanted to, so look, this is an old one where I just did some samples very simply, wrote a couple things out, not a lot of details on there. I've got some with multiple samples. There is one, let me see if I can find it for you guys. This one, okay. This one has a sample of the single yarn, right there, just the singles, and a sample of the plied yarn. So I can see what that looks like. This was turned into a pair of socks. I don't wear these that much. They don't fit that great. And my feet widened out after having a baby, so life. Okay. That's kind of the main idea. Now, you can, I got to create one of these for my latest spin, which is Shetland socks. So I've got some of this cream yarn, off-white cream, and then I've got 4 little, let me see if I can change the lighting on it. The lighting might not be the best on here. What about on here if I hold it up for you? Down in the little, there we go. Okay, you can kind of see. I've got 4 mini skeins, and then I've got this white one, off-white cream. It's all Shetland. There are different sheep that went into them. Like this black one is from my sheep Arnold. Most of it is from Condor, and then a lot of this one actually has some fine wool from a sheep named Circe. Oh no, excuse me. Oregano. So here's a little bit of oregano's fine wool, and I mix that with my ram condor's wool and a little bit of Circe. You want to see quite the dramatic difference in Shetland right here? I might make another video like this for you guys, but this is Circe, not a sheep that I own or have ever owned, but a fleece that I purchased from my old mentor. And she was an older ewe, super long sable length, gorgeous crimp at the neck. The back wasn't as crimpy. And then you can see this is oregano, a super fine wool sheep. She's part of the super fine registered 1927, I think it is. So I found a new home for her as I decided I'm not breeding this kind of Shetland. And this is some of my ram's wool. So you can see he's got, it's dirty, raw locks. So that actually a lot of the wool that went into this that was condors looked super dirty like this and washed really nice and clean. So that's just dirt, other yucky stuff, to be honest. So how fun is Circe's? Super long, 6 inches plus. I only used a little bit of that. So I just wanted to show that as an example of what information I might include on my card. So I might say this is Shetland socks. I can put the date on there, so when I go back and look in time, oh, I made that in 2024. And then I can expand this section. So, you know, I can write fiber and then put a lot more detail, because this one, I had several different sheep. I had mixed, I did blends. So I might, you know, use a couple more lines for the fiber there for this particular one. Plan, if I've already spun it like I have now, I could just write what it is. But if I'm like trying to sample to try and find the ideal yarn for a project, I might create multiple cards with multiple samples. And so I might say 2-ply DK weight woolen spun, or, you know, however much detail you want to go into there. What is the kind of plan? If you've already spun it, you can leave that out. You could just write what it is that you did spin. So that's just an idea there. Wheel or spindle. So for me, I write this in there because I have 2 spinning wheels. So if you also have multiple spindles, you know, I used my my drop spindle, I used my Turkish spindle, I used my, you know, Navajo spindle, whatever the case may be. I think I have a Bosworth is the only one I really like spinning on. I don't do a lot of spindle spinning anymore. I go straight to my wheel usually. So ratio is what I just told you guys about with my cards for my different spinning wheels. So when I go to sit down at the spinning wheel, I select which whirl that I want to use. In general, this higher speed is going to make a finer yarn. Fast, these ratios are going to make not as fine yarn, and then the medium is going to make you know, and I can't say what exactly it will spin, because it would depend on the spinner. So I might know that I can make a very fine lace weight with this and a worsted weight with this, or a heavy DK with this, or I could, yeah, that kind of thing. So and also depends on, are you plying, yada yada. So anyway, so that is what I put there. The ratio is in the case of a spinning wheel, I write what whirl and what ratio I used. And any extra notes. So is there any other important information, where you got it, who you purchased it from, you know, anything. You drum carded it, you combed it, and then you drum carded it, which I do all the time. I think people think I'm nuts, but I make really beautiful fiber that spins like a dream and doesn't have a lot of junk, no neps, no, you know, if you're just constantly having to stop and pick stuff out, that's not as much fun to spin, in my opinion. And then, of course, a place to put a sample. You can hole punch and then attach applied sample for attaching the singles yarn before applying. If I'm going to apply, it doesn't really matter. But the singles yarn, I cut a snip here and a snip here, and then I just wind on a little sample. Okay, so I think you guys get the main idea. This is my system, and this is what works for me. I do think the original idea to use index cards might have come from another spinner, Rachel of Woolen Spinning, who really talented spinner, lovely lady. I watched some of her videos when I was just starting out, and that helped me a ton. I think I got the index card idea from her, and she's really lovely, so I think I want to just give credit where credit is due. But I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't remember exactly how she does it, if I do more than she does, or if I do things a little differently. Or maybe she doesn't do this anymore. I just didn't want to leave without saying that. I think this idea came from her, but I think I add a lot of detail, and I've been doing this for so long. I always regret, by the way, when I don't do this, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna spin, and then something happens, or I want to go back and recreate it. I need to make more of it. I ran out. Oh, there's all kinds of reasons why it's, you know, a great idea to make a little card like this. That's all I've got for this video, and I hope it was helpful. Leave me a comment below if you learned something, or if you're going to start using this method for tracking your spins. My little card, I should use this more sometimes, and the little lines on it that help you kind of see the size of the yarn when I'm the thickness of the yarn. Okay, bye.